Of the four, Bob, what one speaks to you the most? Is it Imp because he turns into a rat?
No, I don't know why I keep going back to rat. That was just an example. I've kind of locked myself into it now. I don't love rats.
I got that impression.
Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West. And, what is it, Sam? What's today?
Warlock Wednesday.
Where are my fingers? There they are. Warlock Wednesday.
I don't know if you're high, drunk, or whatever, but where are my fingers is one of my favorite pop questions.
All right. Another Warlock Wednesday. Today we will be covering the Pact of the Chain.
Yes, I don't have any chains. I'm not that kind of man, but I would pull one out if I did have one. I hope you all know that, audience. This is a Pact Boon.
I have a wire.
Not quite the same, but I understand. It was good effort. I also have wires.
Nice.
This is for my headphones. So this is one of your Pact Boons. You get this at 3rd level. You get to pick this, or Pact of the Blade, or Pact of the Tome, or Pact of the Talisman. Normally it's this, or Pact of the Blade if you're doing extra attack things. Although Tome has some redeeming qualities, this is like, I think, the standout reason to stay 3 in Warlock. Because my god, is this option's so good. Oh, it's so good. So it's really simple-ish. It's not simple even a little bit, actually. You learn the Find Familiar spell, which you can cast as a ritual. The spell doesn't cast against your number of spells, no. So you get a free spell, Find Familiar, and ritual casting for it, which is not normally something Warlocks have. Normally you'd have to spend spell slots on it, but you don't, because you get it as a ritual spell specifically because it says so.
That's weird.
Yeah. It also says when you cast the spell, you can choose one of the normal forms for your familiar, or a fun form, a special form. You can pick to have it as an imp, a pseudo-dragon, a Quasit, or a Sprite. It also says, additionally, when you take the attack action, you can forgo one of your own attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack with its reaction, which is more or less non-text. You might come up from time to time at 3rd level is when it's going to be at its like best, but for the most part, you're going to like this thing as its little handy-dandy familiar form. You're going to prefer this just controlling and doing it, controlling with your mind, having it take non-attack actions in combat, and sort of thriving beyond that. Right. So before we jump into like specific forms, questions, comments.
Question. Generally, as a wizard, your familiar cannot attack.
It cannot take the attack action, I believe, is how Find Familiar is phrased.
Well, can it do the same thing this does?
Your familiar can take any actions in combat, because you're getting this through the Find Familiar spell. So it'll follow all of the conditions and terms that go into Find Familiar. It says your familiar acts independently of you, but it always obeys your command. In combat, it rolls as the own initiative and acts on its own turn. A familiar can't attack, is the physical way it's worded. But it can take other actions as normal.
All right, so what I'm asking is, like, all right, so you can forgo one of your own attacks as a Warlock here, Pact of the Chain Warlock, to allow your familiar to make one attack of its own with its reaction.
Correct.
Now, a wizard generally cannot do that, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, next question. All right, I get how this works for Imp, Pseudo-Dragon, Quasit, or Sprite, but what if, and we've discussed this, it'll never, ever come up, I'm a Warlock, Pact of the Chain, and I decided I want a rat familiar. Can that rat do this attack thing?
Absolutely. You can make a bite attack with +0 to hit at a range of 5 feet that has 1 piercing damage on hit to forgo your action. If that is what you'd like to do, you're welcome to do it.
Like I said, never going to come up. I just wanted to be clear.
Sure. I do think there are a lot of fun little familiar options that aren't listed in these 4. And while I won't recommend doing it, just because Pact of the Tome is an easier way to sort of navigate this, it isn't the end of the world to have your familiar be one of the other forms. So the other forms that it mundanely gets from the Find Familiar spell are bat, crab, frog, hawk, lizard, octopus, owl, poisonous snake, fish, which uses the Quipper Staplelock, rat, raven, seahorse, spider, or weasel. Octopus are really cool. They get an ink cloud, they get tentacles, they get underwater camouflage, they do a lot of cool things. The problem is they can only breathe above water for 30 minutes, so you have to like keep them shunted in a pocket dimension with water. Are you okay there?
Yeah, it's just speaking of weasels, my familiar in the Authors and Dragons podcast was a weasel named
Uh-huh.
Ron Weasley Jeremy.
Incredible. There he is.
Thought I'd introduce him. Hi.
Hi, Ron Weasley Jeremy. You could take a non-imp Quasit Sprite pseudo dragon familiar if you'd like to. It isn't the worst thing ever. But I will say the bulk of the power in this is getting the empowered familiar, is getting the imp Quasit Sprite or pseudo dragon. Just because Pact of the Tome, you can get find familiar through its ritual invocation, which is normally going to be more net power to your character sheet. That'll do the same thing. So like if you really want a rat, for example, and you don't mind the rat not getting the forgo your attack for its attack, you should just probably get it through Tome the other way.
Yeah. But let's be real. When imp, pseudo dragon, Quasit, or Sprite is on the table, you're probably taking one of them.
Absolutely, because they come with some busted features. Most of them can turn invisible, which is funny. So Quasits and imps and sprites all can spend an action to become invisible at will. And they stay invisible until their concentration ends or they make an attack. And they can just do it again. There isn't like a once per day or on it or anything. There's not any kind of condition. It's just, I want to be invisible, it's invisible. Visible familiars are disgusting. They're so good because they are now the best kind of scout you could possibly ask for. As long as you're near it, you can just leave your familiar somewhere invisible and it will do the thing. You can have it follow around you visibly all the time. You can have it just exist as an invisible sensor that you can put places to get your eyes and ears wherever you need them to be as long as they're within like 100 feet of you, which is not that hard to do. At-will invisibility is yucky good. And again, 3 of them get it. Pseudo dragons don't, which is why I think pseudo dragons are kind of the worst of the bunch. The pseudo dragons we can kind of start with, they get limited telepathy, so they can mentally communicate with things in 100 feet of them. They get magic resistance, so they have advantage on saving throw against spells and magical effects, which means they're slightly hardier. They might be able to survive like an AoE Burning Hands a little bit more consistently than something else does. But for the most part, like their sting has a DC 11 con save attached to it that if it fails it by 5 or more, it falls unconscious, but the DC is 11, so like unless you feel like you want to knock out some toddlers, you shouldn't really expect the sting from the pseudo dragon to matter that much. So yeah, pseudo dragon's not that great. It does have a 60-foot fly speed, which is the fastest out of the bunch, which is neat, but every other one gets access to a 40-foot fly speed in some way, shape, or form, so like you're not really missing much.
All of them do?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right.
Yep, sprites have it base, imps have it base, and Quasits can turn into bats, which have a 40-foot fly speed. And they can do that as many times as they want as well, because they're Shapechangers. Same with imps. Both bats and imps can change shape, which means they can become bats, rats, spiders. Imps become ravens, rats, or spiders, and ravens have a 60-foot fly speed, so imps actually match the fly speed of the pseudo dragon. And Quasits turn into the bat would only have the 40-foot fly speed, but they go straight into centipedes or toads. So sure.
All right, so you know what? If you want a rat familiar, that's still on the table here with imp. Just listen, buddy. I want you to stay in
have
your
Quasit
rat
become.
form.
Oh yeah, have your imp become a rat. Easy peasy. You'll hate it. It'll be great.
I only love you when you're in your rat form.
Sure. Of the 4, Bob, what one speaks to you the most? Is it imp because he turns into a rat?
No, I don't know why I keep going back to rat. That was just an example. I've kind of locked myself into it now. I don't love rats.
I got that impression.
No, yeah. This is not the impression I wanted to give my audience. I don't have a sick rat fetish. From right now, all right. Right now, I'm kind of siding with imp. Anyway, what else does Sprite have going for it?
Okay, so Sprite has a really cool ability called Heart Sight. So it touches a creature and magically knows its emotional state. If it fails a DC 10 Charisma saving throw, it also knows its alignment. Celestial fiends and undead automatically fail to save, which is a cute little ability. Is it good? No, but it's very cute. The more important thing they get is their short bow. So it has a 1 piercing damage plus 6 to hit. DC 10 con save, or it becomes poisoned for a minute, and then if it fails by 5 or more, it drops unconscious. The difference is the thing is ranged. So like you can conceivably have your sprite go around and like peck people using your action, and then you can occasionally drop one unconscious after enough hits and failed saves, both kiting it around, flying its 40 feet up in the skies and about the place. It scales for this was I think the most interesting one to pair with the Eldritch Invocations you get with these. So there's a Investment of the Chainmaster lets you make them attack as your bonus action. So then you just kind of have like a bonus action Sprite barrage. It also updates your familiar saving throw to use your spell save DC instead. So you have a Sprite that can drop things unconscious. They fail a DC like 15, 16 save by 5 or more. And all of a sudden, you just have a bonus action thing that's picking things off. And at minimum, it's poisoning things a lot of the time, which is pretty cool. It's pretty spicy. It definitely requires the invocation for that to kind of come together, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's another thing. If you're going Pact of the Chain, you're probably going to pick that up.
Yeah, that is the next big step. You can even, like, at their level, take Pact of the Chain and then replace one of your invocations for Investment of the Chainmaster if you really want to, like, dive into going full in on this familiar and having fun with it. It lets you use all of their abilities, like, effectively. It's like Quasits, for example. That's basically everything the Sprite does: 40-foot fly speed, invisibility, and the short bow. That's kind of the gist of it. Quasits have this scare ability, so once per day, a creature of its choice within 20 feet makes a DC 10 whiz save or is frightened for a minute. This is just a thing it does once a day, and you don't need to spend bonus action or anything doing this. You can just tell it to scare something, and it will. That's powerful. That's a free frighten for taking the Quasit familiar. And then it also has a bite ability, so if you do bonus action to have it attack, it's got a 2d4 bonus poison damage on hit, and then a poison condition on a failed save. So that's kind of cool. So like if you got the Pact of the Chain, or the improved Investment in the Chainmaster or whatever, have it bite something, get some poison down, use your reaction, try and keep it alive. Really cute little thing with the... I like Quasit a lot. It's my favorite.
I'm leaning to Sprite right now. I like, ranged attack.
1 damage, but a poison with upside. Big upside.
Wait, what's the point? That's got poison damage too? I thought that knocked things out.
It poisons them, so they have the poisoned condition, and then knocks them out if it's by 5 or lower. So yeah.
Oh yeah. I like that aspect of it.
Oh, it's super, super cool.
Yeah.
Quasit's big defining feature is scare. They have the invisibility, they got magic resistance, so they have advantage on saves against magic as well. They can shape change, as we touched on, which is really cool. They also have like just a billion damage resistances. They have cold, fire, lightning, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attack damage resistances. They're immune to poison damage and the poison condition. So that's like just a billion different things. Also +5 to stealth. Woo! Woo! Oh, also Sprites have +8 to stealth, and they can be invisible to get an advantage on that. So they're just like, you never find me. They're yucky, disgusting, good. Imps, the last one we haven't really touched on. Imps also have a really cool feature called Devil Sight, which is just the invocation they can see in magical darkness. Which means if you're that Warlock and you want a Pact Boon for your Eldritch Blasting, you can just sit an Imp on your shoulder, and it can do its stuff normally as long as it's in your bubble of magical darkness. So like if you're going at people in your magical darkness that you can see through with your Devil Sight invocation, having an Imp that also sees through your magical darkness seems pretty pretty sweet to me. That seems awesome.
Now wait, let me wrap my head around this. Now, if you don't take Devil Sight, but your Imp has it, can you see through its eyes?
I believe you get senses while it's happening, yes.
Okay, so can you just be using that? Can you Eldritch Blast even if you're looking through your Imp's eyes?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
Let me consult the holy text of Find Familiar, because it might take your action to look through its eyes. As an action, you can dismiss it. While you're familiar with a feat of you can use an action to see through its senses, and you can do that every turn. So you can't, if you're doing that, you're not also spending action making attacks. Yeah.
All right, well, that's unfortunate.
Glad I checked.
Yeah.
It's still, you can do cool things with it.
That's just one more invocation you have to take.
Yeah. I like that it's a build route, right? Like you can have this as a supplementary option to being a darkness-based warlock, because this has a little bit of synergy with it. I think it's kind of spicy. I think that's really neat. Other invocations that we haven't touched on that go with Pact of the Chain. So Investment in the Chainmaster is the big one. That one is bonus action attack. It already has the base flying speed of 40 feet, but now it gains it if you're Quasit, I guess. You get the attacks considered magical. It uses your spell save DC instead of its DC for its abilities, and then whenever it takes damage, you can use your reaction to have it, which is pretty important for keeping these things alive. Most of the time in the mid to low tiers, that will keep it alive from a single hit, and normally one hit drops them. So that if you want to do Pact of the Chain thing, that's definitely the one to invest in. Your other options are Voice the Chainmaster, which I know you love a lot. You want to talk about why Voice the Chainmaster makes you happy?
Again, I don't love it. It's just I had fun talking about it on the video. That's the one.
While you're perceiving through its senses, you can talk through it. So
yeah, that's good times.
Yeah.
It's got your voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
The
again, I guess we're
proverbial
not gonna
rat.
have a rat, but um, I don't know, like all these improved familiar options feel like they look like they could talk anyway. So
Well,
that's
what if
less
going through this
impressive.
journey,
But what?
your imp is transformed into the rat, and
Oh, there
then
you
you
go.
talk through its voice.
All right,
There you
now, all
go.
right, I'm back up on top. I love it again.
Okay, great.
All right, all I want is for somebody to be freaked out because a rat starts talking to them.
Okay, yeah, I guess, sure. Hey, that's all you want. This will do that to some commoner somewhere. A lot of the people will be like, ah, yes, in this world full of magic where there are unholy demons and real angels, a talking rat is kind of the least of my concerns.
These people
Uh,
don't run into demons every day.
yeah, but
I
what if
think a
you...
lot of people would be surprised if a rat started talking to them.
I would say surprised is an apt word to use. I don't know if I would do like shocked or terrified. I don't think the reaction would be more than a, huh, look at that, right?
Yeah,
You're
you're
like
probably
walking
right.
up, you can see a dog on two legs. You're like, I mean, it's not supposed to be like that, but it's kind of neat that it's happening.
Um, was that Voice of the Chainmaster? Did that one extend the range as well?
Mhm.
Okay,
As
I
long as you're on
also
the same
like
plane,
that.
yeah.
Right. Actually, that's I like that for more practical reasons. None instantly come to mind, like we talked about in the video we did on that. But I feel like the range increased from 100 was to 1,000 feet.
It's on the same plane, as long as you're in the
Oh,
same universe, basically.
anywhere. All right, yeah. That's all kinds of potential there, I feel.
I think I've come around to more so like if you're playing in a game where you are regular, like, man, I wish this range was longer, then I think you would be comfortable taking that feature. And I think if you don't know what the range is between where you can see your familiar or not, you probably don't ever want to take it. And I think there's gonna be a lot of people that don't know off the top of their head that it's 100 feet, right?
Right.
I'm one such player. I never remember that it's 100 feet because it's never beyond 100 feet from me for the most part.
Yeah.
It's like always within my range. The other options you get, so we got a Gift of the Ever Living One, which is when you regain hit points while your familiar is 100 feet of you, treat any dice rolled, determine hit points you regain as their max value. I think this is a non-feature that you should never, ever, 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 ever take.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about this one. All right, why is that exclusive to chain?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know
Because your
that.
familiar has to be within 100 feet of you or doesn't have text.
Right. Okay.
So if your familiar dies, it doesn't have text.
Or if you're making good use out of having them far away.
Also true.
Yeah.
I still like Octopus Pen Pals is where I come to this. So yeah, I would recommend not taking Gift of the Ever Living Ones. And then the final option you get is Chains of Carcerity, which is hold monster at will, targeting celestial fiends or elementals, which is freaking sweet. But you have to wait a long rest in between using it against the same creature, but you can still like hold a different celestial fiend or elemental over and over again. This thing is super cool. This is the top invocation that I almost always want.
Yeah, that's a good one.
At will. It only hits 3 types, but who cares? There's 3 prominent enough types in the upper tiers, and like if you get it 3 or 4 times per campaign, oh god, yeah, it's like free spells. Oh, delicious. Super flavorful. Probably not that powerful, but cool. I like it a lot. So yeah, that's basically everything there is about Pact of the Chain. For the most part, if we're looking at builds, this is a blaster invocation. This is something you take it. You're doing the Eldritch Blast thing as a dedicated Warlock, or more realistically, how I view this is a multi-class one. This is like an obnoxiously powerful feature on its own, and that's a reason to play Warlock. So like if I'm playing a multi-class build Warlock and I want an Imp or a Sprite or a Pseudo Dragon, and you normally want one of those 3 things because the character sheets are better than most 3rd level fighters, you definitely would consider taking this as just I get 2nd level spell slots with my Pact, I get my Pact of the Chain, I get my investment in the Chain Master, and I got a cool invocation, I got a cool familiar that's super powered, I've got a good thing to do with my bonus action, now I can delve into other class builds and directions as I see fit. You can do the Sorcerer stuff with Eldritch Blast, you can go into martial stuff with Rogue, you can do all kinds of different things post this point. Or even like if you're a 5-level fighter and you're like, I want to invest some in Warlock, going 5 to fighter, then 3 into Warlock for an 8-level build seems really reasonable. You'll get this thing at 8th level and you'll be like, wow, this is a 2nd character for me that is big, enormous out of combat boon that will feel really good when you get it. Yeah, this is a multi-class first and foremost kind of option, I think. It's just
Yeah,
so cheap to pick up.
I like it. Are we? I forgot. Are we grading these?
I haven't been giving them grades.
All
I
right,
mean,
then we don't have to then. Yeah, we'll keep it consistent. There's only 4 of these packs.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, if I did, it would get a high grade, high marks.
I think this is the best one.
Well, that's. I'll reserve my judgment until after we cover the other 2, but yeah, probably. All right, well, that was Pact of the Chain. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and thank you for watching. We'll
Which
see
of
you
these
next
4 are you
time.
taking?
Oh yeah. Wait.
Are
4
you
packs.
Team Sprite? Are you Team Imp?
Oh,
Where
all right. Which of these 4?
is Pseudo Dragon have
Familiar.
any redeeming qualities?
Yeah, that's the stinger thing was rough.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Pseudo
Let
Dragon's
us know what
better.
you think. Which of these speak to you? Because you have that invocation that lets them speak.
Or just to mentally communicate with it. You can. Which of them are you speaking to? Just with your words, you can do that too.
Yeah.
These speak languages.
All right, I've rambled enough. Goodbye.